Welcome into the season 2 premiere of Stone Cold Stros. I'm Brandon Strange. I'm joined by Charlie Palillo and Josh Jordan. Follow them on X at Palillo and at Josh Jordan 975 and read their work on sportsmap.com. Be sure to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube so you get all of our content all season. The full version of this podcast is available in audio form right now at your favorite podcast app. Gents, here we are. And for those hoping that the Astros would take a step back, Bakota of Baseball Perspectives is projecting 95 wins for the Astros in 2024. So sorry, haters. The Astros look like they're going to be on the come again. 9 better than the Rangers, 10 more wins than the Mariners. Charlie, let's start there. Are you surprised to see such an aggressive number from a platform that typically skews pretty conservative?
Yeah, just a little. 9 and 10 game margin over the Rangers and Mariners maybe seems a little bit ambitious, but 95 wins is certainly within range for this team. Is it more toward the upper range? And I don't think this has the makings of getting back to being a 105 win ball club. But there are specific players that you can point to last season and say, well, they figured to be better than that. Really, no one on the ball club had what you would constitute as a career season that, he should drop off significantly from what he produced last year. And Justin Verlander seems to be shaking off the arm stuff. If he's generally healthy and you're getting a full season out of him, even if 25, 26 starts, that's a lot more than 9. And what you'd be replacing starts from the Bielaks and Blancos of the world. We know where the back end of the bullpen stands right now. So 95 is a very viable upside number for them.
Yeah, sounds about right to me. I certainly hope they get there. That means we're going to have a fun season to watch. I thought it was interesting. They looked at the Dodgers and the Braves. They have them at 100 and 101 wins. So, that's pretty sporty there. But when we know how good they were the last year, they did some good things this offseason. So, with the Astros around 95, hopefully that's about right. The Rangers doesn't look like they're bringing back Jordan Montgomery. I'm sure that factored into some of this, and they have some injured guys that they'll have to deal with during the season as well to their pitching staff. So I like it. I think it's about right. I think the Astros are going to be really good this year.
And the Astros, they are made men. They are proven now for the better part of a decade without fail, right, excepting the short COVID season. I mean, there will come a time, there will come a year where, the Astros turned out to not be very good. But this certainly does not project to be that season. And then you look within the American League, we addressed the West. Obviously, the Central has no one that you'd plausibly think could make a run at 95 wins. Okay, the East was clearly the best division in baseball last year. The Baltimore Orioles, chock full of so much young talent. Well, one of their young stud pitchers, Kyle Bradish, he has an ulnar collateral issue, which they're thinking is just a sprain, but that not unroutinely can turn into Tommy John surgery. Yes, they added Corbin Burns from the Brewers. They look loaded, won 101 games last year, but you don't always just go up, 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 up until you win the World Series. And one thing about the Orioles, last season, they were incredible in one-run games, which is almost random year to year. No team is great in one-run games every year. It's a myth that, the clutch teams win most of their close games in baseball. It's not how it works. So the Orioles are probably going to come down from their 101. And within the American League East, the Yankees are improved. Yes, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Rays don't seem to have improved their roster. Someone in the American League is going to win 95 games, so why not the Astros?
One thing that could factor into this and could factor into that win projection is Alex Bregman in a contract year. And I think all eyes are going to be on him this season. Dana Brown has said that they intend to make offers to both Tucker and Bregman in due time. Bregman confirmed that there hasn't been an offer made yet. Are you guys surprised that there wasn't at least something floated to Bregman's camp in the preseason? Or are you think, maybe like a feeler offer, or do you think that maybe the Astros are playing it close to the vest to prevent fodder from getting to the media and creating more unnecessary chatter during the season?
Yeah, don't know about the motivation. We can turn the clock back to when Carlos Correa was offered 5 years, $160 million. That's $32 million per season. The Astros, would they put a similar offer on the table for Bregman, who no doubt, given the marketplace of the last couple of off seasons, less so this offseason, at least until we get the play out, maybe on Cody Bellinger and the pitchers, the 8 and 10-year contracts. I don't know about the Astros' motivation. It's not an insulting offer by any means if they offered Bregman 5 years, $125 million, the exact time frame and numbers of the Altuve extension. But Team Bregman, led by Scott Boras, Altuve's agent also, but as Boras talked about when Altuve got the deal done, well, Bregman's in a more conventional free agency approaching place, age 30, and looking for that longer contract. And the Astros, off their history, if they know they're not going to 8-10 years, maybe they feel it's just not worth the effort of putting in a 5-year offer right now. I think you should throw something out there, and if they laugh at it and say, we're oceans apart, so be it. But what is the harm in saying, well, here's a deal that we would do now, even if it turns out to be 4 years and $125 million short of what Bregman's looking for?
Yeah, and it is kind of curious that they haven't at least just kind of given him some type of offer. I wonder if Bregman kind of feels like he can improve the offer he might get by having a huge season. If he gets back to where we see the power get up into 30 home runs again, something like that, maybe that could make the offer go up a little bit. It is interesting. He's in great shape. He's been talking about it at camp. He has gained 23 pounds for this season. He also talked about he lost a little weight towards the end of last year and into the offseason, so it's not all newly acquired weight, but he looks like he's in great shape. He says he feels terrific. I mean, maybe that'll add to that power. You add 23 pounds, and maybe he'll start lifting the ball a little more using those Crawford boxes, and the Astros could certainly use that. It'd also be nice to see Jeremy Pena do the same thing.
It's interesting. When I heard 23 pounds, I was like, whoa, because Alex Bregman's not a hulking guy. So, if Yordan Alvarez decided he was going to bulk up 23 pounds, well, if you're adding it to 230, 240, proportionally, it's a lot less than packing that much on with Bregman. You hope he doesn't lose flexibility that hurts him defensively at third base. You hope all that muscle doesn't make him more prone to muscle injuries. Right? He had the leg issues going back 3 years. And Bregman, we know, he's a very, very confident player, saying he fully expects to have the best season of his career. Well, look, you have to bet against that happening because the bar that he set in 2018, 2019 was extremely high. 2019, very arguably, was the MVP of the American League, finished second to Mike Trout, which was no crime, but it was a monster season. Maybe if they bring back the juiced balls of 2019, Bregman can get back into that power range. He had 41 home runs in 2019. And for anyone scoffing, what do you mean the juiced balls? Yuli Gurriel hit 31 home runs in 2019. Bregman has not hit 30 in a season since. His OPS in 2019 was 1,012. 4 years since, he's a 261 hitter with an 804 OPS. So he is going to have to be vastly better than he's been over the last 4 years to get into that range. The good news is Alex Bregman's floor is very high. The last 2 seasons, he's been a very good player, but not a super duper star. He turns 32 days after opening day. If he's really good, well, that's really good for the 2024 Astros chances. And maybe it doesn't mean 10 years, $300 million for Alex Bregman, but he's going to get a nice big bag, be it here or from somewhere else.
Yeah, he said that he expects to have the best season that he's ever had. And part of that confidence, he says, comes from working over the offseason with Exos in Phoenix. And I guess part of that regimen is adding muscle while maintaining, as you said, that flexibility and speed. And that's supposed to be kind of Exos's, that's their claim to fame. That's what they're known for because they help draft prospects prepare for the combine, add muscle while also maintaining that speed. I think it's interesting, while we pontificate on the future of Bregman, Blue Jays fans and media and front office are wondering if they'll ever see a healthy George Springer again. And I just say that because, the Astros aren't afraid to let guys walk. The Jays are talking about Springer resting more, possibly getting more time at DH so that he can get back to what they're calling career norms. And that's after moving him from center to right. So as much as we all miss George in Houston, the Jays probably miss him more because he's taken up valuable resources that they could use otherwise. And you talked about Bregman betting on himself. We saw Carlos Correa also bet on himself, and he did eventually get that bag, but it was after two other teams passed, notably after on those medicals. And keeping it on the infield, we also heard from that Yainer Diaz will be calling his own games. So that's pretty. They're really putting the responsibility in this young man's hands. They're going to throw him on the deep end. Charlie, what do you think about Yainer Diaz in his first, full rookie season campaign? Them giving him the keys to the pitching staff.
All for it. Throw him in the water, let him swim. I also just personally think this isn't Little League or high school or college. Every big league catcher should be calling the game, not getting every pitch from the dugout. I hate that. But Justin Verlander ultimately will be calling his own game. It'll be interesting to see the transition. Oh, no more Maldi to handhold. Will Justin Verlander fall apart mentally? Maybe there'll be a little bit of time to build up a rhythm, a syncopation, same wavelength with Yainer Diaz. But I expected that to be a trivial issue for the Astros over the course of the season as we frame the infield. With Maldonado gone, right, Yainer Diaz can have what many would consider a disappointing season offensively. And he's still going to be a quantum leap improvement over Martin Maldonado. And Maldonado's defensive metrics were lousy, right? The ERA wasn't better when he was the Astros catcher. He was lousy at throwing out would-be base stealers the other way. He led the league in passed balls while Yainer Diaz had none. So, the Astros are going to improve from 90 wins to the 95 PECOTA number or wherever they wind up. Yainer Diaz goes in. By default, he's going to be a net upgrade for the Astros of probably at least 2 or 3 wins.
Yeah, I was always curious about that because even when Maldonado was here, you'd see him looking over into the dugout pretty much after almost every single pitch. So I was always just curious, are they giving him some kind of intel or is he looking over there for some other reason? But either way, we'll take a spot at his word. Yainer's going to call the game. And I think he'll be fine. He's been around at least for a little bit. He knows this staff, and hopefully Maldonado showed him some things last year and he'll fit in the role fine. And Charlie pointed out, you're going to get an improvement on defense and offense no matter what. So yeah, let's get him going. And he also, Spada said that they may look to get him in the DH spot from time to time with Yainer when they're trying to give him some rest and don't want him squatting every day, but they still want that big bat in the lineup. So it'll be curious to see how they use that. So, because they also said they want, Yordan to play a lot of left field. So I'm curious how they're going to use the DH throughout the year. I'd like to see Jose Abreu get some time in the DH spot. We saw how much better he was when he was rested last season. And you just gave Altuve a ton of money for a long time. You want to make sure that you take care of him as well and give him plenty of off days.
Well, prepare for microanalysis from fans and media of Diaz in the catching position. Anytime a pitcher shakes off Diaz or any variance in ERA, you're going to see the fans and media create agendas basically off of, the difference between this and Maldi. So just prepare for it. You heard it here first. You can't say we didn't warn you about it because that is coming. We'll probably participate in some of that. That's going to be it for, go ahead.
Just said the job is catcher, not wet nurse.
Yeah.
With Maldonado catching, Framber Valdez deteriorated badly the second half of last season. Ditto Christian Javier. So if those guys struggle, it's not because they've gone from Einstein to Dodo Bird behind the plate. And, Yainer Diaz has a chance to be a real star as an all-around catcher. Don't retard his development by unnecessary hand-holding and saying, you're not capable of this component of the job. If he needs help along the way, okay. But let the kid play all around.
Yeah. And I'll be interested to see if he kind of grows from last year, or maybe he kind of has a bit of a down year, kind of like Jeremy Pena did his second year. And quickly, just the last thing I did want to bring up is Jeremy Pena has changed his swing. From what Espada said, he likes what he's seeing. And I saw a video just a little while ago Chandler Rome put up of him doing live BP off of Ryan Presley. And it does look a little quieted down. And he had some good contact on the one pitch that was in the video. So, and it was in the air. He got some lift on it. And that's what Espada said, that he likes what he's seeing is he's using all fields, but he's hitting with more power. getting the ball up in the air. So I think that's huge for Jeremy this year. If he can get back to, hitting 20-something home runs and doesn't fall off a cliff with his batting average, and maybe if he could just walk a little bit more, that would be a huge boost for this club.
Well, I've said it from the beginning. I think 2024 could be very special, and you could see a Alex Bregman return to form for a full season. You could see Jeremy Pena return to form at shortstop. And now that you've upgraded essentially at the catcher position, you could see a really big bounce back, not just from the offense, but defense as well. That's going to be it for part 1 of Stone Cold Stros. To listen to the full podcast, it's up right now at your favorite podcast provider. And to watch the rest of our conversation on YouTube, check out the Stone Cold Stros playlist at the Sports Map Houston YouTube channel. We'll release those videos or that video shortly. And as always, go Stros.